oh, if they take Medicaid, oh, if they cut SNAP, those people who don't want to work have to work. No, I don't think you looking at the deeper picture. Nurses, doctors, CNAs, what is it called, LPNs, all of them gonna lose their jobs too. How, you may say? Well, if they cut all those billions of dollars in Medicaid, most of the people in hospital depend on Medicaid. Most of the people in nursing homes depend on Medicaid, which where RNs and doctors and nurses is work. So if all of them die, who's gonna fund the hospitals and the nursing homes? So that means that everybody else lose their jobs too. So I don't think y'all really thinking this out clearly. So all them senates who got RN doctors, the RN daughters and all that, when they start losing their job, and then, oh my gosh, God forbid they lose their job and they can't take care of their kid, they can't pay their house mortgage, what will they ever do? What will they do? Oh no. When their grandma die. Oh no. When their third cousin die, and then they got to go to the funeral, and they say, what did Mary Lou die from? And then they say, because Mary Lou was on Medicaid, and you guys cut the Medicaid, and Mary Lou died, and then what? Oh, my bad.
So blacks are also joining this lamentation against the Trump's beautiful bill that has gone ahead to cut the Medicaid, which is one of the uh, steps that America has been achieving over time on the healthcare management system. This has been helping a lot of people who are unable to achieve good healthcare because of their financial status. It comes at an eve where America is not good according to the credit scores that was recently released. So the big question is America headed in the right direction? Even as we watch these videos of blacks lamenting all this, I want you to give us a comment in our comment section if this is the right way and direction America should take. So let's watch and make a reaction in the end.
Hi everyone, so today we're going to talk about the Social Security and Medicaid cuts that will affect millions of Americans. So let's start off with naming my sources. I got NBC, the New York Times, Fox News, I got CNBC, and then the SSA Gov website, and CBS. So let's get started. Starting with Social Security cuts. The Social Security Administration is cutting 7,000 jobs from. So, what will that look like? Well, I'm going to tell you. They will have to choose between making sure all of the claims are processed, or choose between correcting all and any errors that they find in the paperwork, and that will ultimately result in delays in processing and improper payments. The former SSA Commissioner Martin O'Malley stated that unfortunately you are going to see the system collapse and an interruption of benefits. I believe you will see that within the next 30 to 90 days. People should start saving now. End quote. The fewer staff means more mistakes, delays, loss in applications even. If you are applying for benefits, I recommend staying on top of your paperwork. If you don't hear from them within a week or two, call your local office, fax them. This happened the same thing with me and my mom. We both are on Social Security, and we keep on having to resend our paperwork. So they lose a lot of things. So keep on them for your work. Programs with SSA. It's a lot of programs. It's not just your Social Security supplemental income. There's also retirement, survivors benefits, disability, Housing assistance. I'm using energy assistance because these energy bills is so high. Food and nutrition assistance, low income housing, and energy assistance, temporary assistance for needy families, general assistance, Medicaid and Medicare. Yes, Medicaid and Medicare fall under the SSA administration. So look out for that. Another thing must cause SSA a Ponzi scheme. You need to go fuck off to the fuck off island, okay? Because this program helps so many people. Millions of people. 73 million actually in total. That go through SSA. Just in general with like retirement, survivors benefits, and veterans benefits. That, and most of people do rely on SSA. And it shouldn't be like that, but we have to rely on that for our income. Okay, moving on to Medicaid. So Medicaid helps 74 million Americans. It helps with older adults under the age of 65, pregnant women, children, and people with disabilities with medical costs. Medicare is for a health insurance for 65 years old and older. That is the difference between Medicaid and Medicare. The Energy and Commerce Committee oversees Medicaid. They are expected to reduce $880 billion in monetary spending cuts. This will go towards Trump's 2017 tax cuts. Now, when I'm saying tax cuts, I'm saying that to the one percenters. They will get the tax cuts. People who make under $500,000 will have increases in their taxes in addition to losing their Medicaid benefits. So there's that. Yeah. And according to the director on Medicaid, he states that the way the math would work is that those cuts will largely need to come out of Medicaid. People who benefit from the Affordable Care Act, like Obamacare, will be affected also. Medicaid doesn't just help the recipients, it also helps fund hospitals and health clinics. Now with the cuts, hospitals won't be able to provide patient care. They will struggle financially, and especially the mental health services that will be cut. Looting will be on the rise, looting for meds, different equipment will be on the rise due to those cuts also. Now, states with the most impact, the top 10 states with the most impact, will be California, New York, Texas, Florida, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Ohio, Washington State, Massachusetts, and Michigan. They will be the top 10 most affected states as they receive most of the Medicaid benefits. They have more spending and more recipients in those states. Now, if you rely on these programs, I recommend to start saving now. Stay on top of your application process. Stay on top of your local offices. Keep updated with the news outlets. That is it for today. Let me know your thoughts and comments in the comment section, and I will post all my sources links in the comments too if you want to look at that.
And while we talking, he signed the executive order to end EMTALA. I mean, basically, you know how you go to the emergency room and you may not have insurance or anything like that, and they have to see you, you know, because of medical reasons. Yeah, he's trying to get rid of that. You know what I'm saying? We don't need no health care, basically. And I will say this, and I will continue to say this. What is the government for? Because is it for the people? Every executive order I hear, I have yet to hear where is it for the people. I don't care if you red, blue, black, green, whatever you are. Okay? I don't want to hear nothing about no red, no blue, no left, no right, none of that. I don't want to hear none of that. What is the government doing for the people? Because he had already told you finna go through some hard times for the next 2 years. We already going through hard times. Now he's saying if you have an emergency and you don't have no type of financial way of paying for it, they can turn your ass around. Emergency or not. They finna put your granny and your pawpaw out on the street if they on Medicaid. No. Okay? He already done told you your teachers can't teach. I'm going to tell you what to teach. The doctors cannot do what they job. They going to tell you, you ain't got no money, I'm not touching you. So, again, is the government for the people, by the people, or have we lost that? Or did we ever have it? Yeah. And anybody that get in my comments about Democrat, Republican, left, right, blue, red, I don't want to hear none of that. I don't want to hear none of that. Because that's the biggest scam that all this left, right, you, the Democrats, I don't want to hear none of that. Because at the end of the day, this affects all of us. I don't care who you are. Okay? They playing in our face. They playing in all of our face. And you do not get in my comments about no red, blue, Democrats, Republican, left, just right. I don't want to hear none of that, bro. I don't want to hear none of that. No. You're getting blocked.
If you or someone you know received your health insurance through Medicaid, you need to listen up. If you're new here, my name is Crystal. I am a social worker and a caseworker. I have worked in the social service field for over 10 years. I also worked at the food stamp and Medicaid office for over 6 years. I have processed hundreds of Medicaid applications, and in this video, I'll explain to you how budget cuts will affect your family's health insurance benefits. In case you didn't know, Medicaid is on the chopping block as a program that this new administration intends to cut, along with SNAP benefits, which is also known as food stamps, and CHIP, which provides health insurance for children. As someone who has boots on the ground and has met with hundreds of Medicaid recipients, including older adults and young children, cutting this program is dangerous. Since Medicaid is the single largest healthcare coverage in the United States, that means 1 in 5 people are able to get their medical needs met due to this program. And that includes pregnant women, kids, and older adults. CHIP, or the Children's Health Insurance Program, is the primary insurance for many households. So for families who make too much to qualify for Medicaid but are still struggling to afford medical insurance for their children, they may qualify for CHIP and receive low cost or even free health insurance for their kids. And what's even worse, they're trying to cut these programs while giving tax breaks to big corporations. If you're worried about your Medicaid or SNAP benefits being cut, just so the government can give money to billionaire corporations, you need to contact your members of Congress and urge them to protect lifelines that keeps millions of us fed and healthy. You can also click the link in my bio to see what action steps you can take to save the programs that millions of us depend on every day. And if you have any questions, feel free to let me know, and I hope this...
I just need y'all to be reminded that you pay into Medicare. Did you hear what I said? You pay into Medicare. I don't want us to argue about this. There is no left, there is no right, there is no GOP, there's none of that. Listen to me again. You pay into Medicare. If you don't believe me, and if you are gainfully employed at this very moment, I want you to go and look at your pay stub, whether it is a physical copy or if it is a digital copy, and you will see the deductions that are taken out of your paycheck before you get your money. Are you listening? You pay into Medicare. Does that make sense? Did I stutter? Did I make this up? Absolutely the hell not. And so since you are paying into Medicare and they are looking to cut $500 billion in Medicare with this new, big, beautiful, fabulous, gorgeous bill, please understand that if you are paying into Medicare and they cut Medicare, where in the hell are they getting the money to cut it from? That's all.
You cannot be pro-life and support this bill. You cannot be pro-life and support any bill or any piece of legislation that strips healthcare rights away from anybody. And I genuinely don't understand how people even think those things can go hand in hand. So while I was at work today, I Googled it because I was curious. And 41.5% of people that have Medicaid are women. And you know who has babies and gets pregnant? Women. You know which women will lose their babies, lose their pregnancies because they won't be able to get to a trauma center in enough time to save them during a medical emergency. People that don't work in healthcare don't truly see the multiple negative effects that this bill can have on our healthcare system. And as I worked today, I just kept thinking of different things that could happen. And there are so many negative things that I see already with our healthcare infrastructure. And these are some of the things that we can expect to keep seeing. So first off, we get patients that come into the hospital that are living in horrible living conditions, have medical issues that have just been existing for months to years, but they don't go to the hospital because they can't afford to, or they can't drive themselves there safely. We have people that come in who they're in the hospital for infections because they can't get to the pharmacy to get their medications. And then even if they could get there, they can't afford to pick up their medications. We have people that take care of their family members, but they take care of them because they're receiving some kind of financial reward. And because of that, they don't really care how their family members are living as long as they get that check every month. We have patients that leave the hospital before they're ready so they can go home so that their family members can receive the check that they need because they need to pay it for rent or need to spend that money on their groceries. We have patients sitting in facilities that are just god awful. The conditions are miserable. But I guess most of those people probably don't care because they're probably the individuals that leave their family members in those facilities. Just because you might not be on Medicaid and you might not directly be impacted does not mean that like your grandma or people you know aren't going to be directly impacted. And I think that it's so scary that we can't use our minds to think that way. You cannot strip away the things that contribute to a happy, healthy life and be pro-life and say that we need to continue to increase the birth rate and continue to have children to put them into a world with what? We don't want to give them food. We don't want to give, their families money so that they can grow up to be happy, healthy children. We just want them here to exist. Stripping millions of people from their Medicaid and efficient, safe healthcare is devastating. And it's so sad that this would be a thing that anybody would celebrate. It really is so sad. And I think that it's even crazier that all of this started off of, our jobs, or we want cheaper groceries, or we want no taxation on our overtime. But where's all that money going to go? All your extra money is going to go to your healthcare needs when you need it because your insurance isn't going to cover the shit. I try not to get too worked up by this, but I do really care about my patients. And I've just seen really sad, awful things in the 7 short years that I've been a nurse. And we need to be moving forward. And I feel like this is a huge step backwards for everybody. We're all going to get to the age where we need medical help and we need to probably be in a facility, and we need to be building an infrastructure strong enough to handle that. And if we want more children to be born and we want a healthier world for us all, we need to do the things that create that. And this is not that. It's more apparent to me every single day that this administration, ultimately, that's what they want. They want the poor people to just no longer exist. And the way that they can do that is by halt your way to get medications, halt the things that keep you healthy, that keep you alive. And that sounds so dramatic, but ultimately that's what they're doing. And I just think it's so aggravating. And when this thing happens to one group of people, it happens to everybody. People that are old aren't the only group of people that rely on Medicaid. Babies rely on Medicaid. And this will be astronomically devastating for children. And we're so pro-life and we want children to be, safe and healthy, apparently. But this is the exact opposite of what we want in that scenario. And I think that we just can't go on this way. Like, everything about how we run our country right now is just absolutely crazy. And we're 6 months into this presidency, and another 3 years. I don't even know what else we could do in 3 years. But anyways, I'm just another tired nurse talking about things that we need to change. And keep yourself happy, keep yourself healthy, check on your family members, check on people that need help, because this government isn't going to do it for them.
So, Nebraska can't catch a break, right? So, it was reported earlier this year that it was quite possible that the state could go bankrupt, right? Because of the tariffs and the farmers not being able to sell their goods. Well, now it's being reported, since the passage of that big bad bill, that they're about to start closing rural hospitals. In one particular county, in Webster County in Nebraska, they are closing several rural hospitals, and it's going to impact about 3,000 people. But the saddest part of that is it's not only just the rural hospital, it's also the rural nursing home that's tied to those hospitals. So Mima and Pawpaw ain't gonna have nowhere to live. And again, this is another county that voted overwhelmingly for syphilitic Sid. They anticipate that with the closure, they're not going to have hospitals. Nurses and doctors are already starting to quit so that they can go and find other work. So they're operating under a shortage while having to find places to put these people, in particular the elderly that are in these nursing homes. Because a lot of folks don't realize it's a federal mandate. If I'm not mistaken, please feel free to correct me in the comments, but I believe most nursing homes have to have a certain number of beds to accommodate Medicaid patients. Because all of that is eligibility based on income. So therefore, if you are one of those low wage or low earners and didn't, make a lot of money, and you didn't pay a lot into Social Security, you may have Medicare, but Medicare doesn't pay for nursing homes. At least not that I know of. If I'm wrong, I'm open to the correction. But I just, it's like we're literally only 6 months in, and it's been one breaking news alert after another since syphilitic Sid took office. We've not had one day where there hasn't been some form of breaking news that hasn't been bad news. So I get it. All MAGA, all y'all heard was he was going to deport people and he was going to build alligator Alcatraz, and y'all thought y'all was going to buy tickets and eat popcorn to watch immigrants fight off alligators, fight each other. I don't know. Meanwhile, who about to go get me, Mom and Pawpaw when they don't have any place to live? Just something to think about.
So some would say that Trump is having the big man syndrome, which does not care about the common man in America. That is why he made a move to remove the homeless people in the streets of Washington, D.C., and still doesn't want anyone offering assistance to these families, with charges being pressed on anyone seen helping these families. It now comes to healthcare again. Trump has pressed so hard on Americans' healthcare system by cutting the Medicaid that was of importance to these people. And you've seen how blacks are not happy about these too. They have joined the MAGA white voters and expect this to go even to the streets, because no one will be willing to stay in a society with no good healthcare system. Hospitals will start to be overcrowded because no funds will be available for them, and everyone will want this healthcare regardless of the situation, because this has been their right of over time. So this is a move that the American Senate and the judicial system have to intervene. The lawmakers have to intervene in this, because it is taking a new shift where it should not be. Healthcare is a social amenity, is a basic need that should be taken care of, and keen interest should be in healthcare without considering the need to cut these aids. So if you're watching us for the first time, I urge you to make your subscription, because that is how we do long-term interaction in this our channel. Also, do not forget to comment on this. Tell us what you feel about Trump's interference with the healthcare system. Also, like and share this video. Thank you, and may God bless you.